I am Dr. Leana. Welcome to our channel. And today, I need to tell you about something that is happening to millions of people over 65 every single morning. Something so quiet, so invisible, that most people never even question it. It doesn't come in a bottle. It doesn't come on a plate. It's a habit, and it may be silently stealing your energy, your mobility, your blood sugar control, and even years of your independence. Stay with me, because what you learn in the next few minutes might completely change how you start every single day. Let me ask you something first. What is the very first thing you do when you open your eyes in the morning? If you're like most people, especially after 65, you probably lie there for a while. Maybe you scroll through your phone. Maybe you sit up slowly and wait for the stiffness to pass. Maybe you enjoy a quiet cup of tea before doing anything else. And look, none of that sounds dangerous. In fact, it sounds perfectly reasonable. It sounds like self-care. It sounds like listening to your body. But here's what no one is telling you. What feels harmless in those first quiet minutes may be one of the most biologically costly decisions you make all day. And I don't say that to scare you. I say it because the science is clear. And once you understand what's actually happening inside your body during those first 30 to 60 minutes after waking, you will never look at your mornings the same way again. Let's start at the very beginning. The moment your alarm goes off, or your eyes simply open, your body begins a remarkable biological process. A hormone called cortisol surges through your bloodstream. Now, you've probably heard that cortisol is the stress hormone. And yes, in high chronic amounts, it is damaging. But in the morning, cortisol is actually your best friend. It's your natural wake-up call. It tells every cell in your body, time to mobilize, time to move, time to fuel up. Here's what that actually means. Your liver starts releasing stored glucose, that's sugar, directly into your bloodstream. Why? Because your brain needs it. Your muscles need it. Your organs need it. It's your body's way of saying, we have work to do today, here's your fuel. But here's the problem, and this is where it gets critical. If you're not moving, that fuel has nowhere to go. Think of your muscles as sponges. They are by far one of the largest consumers of glucose in your entire body. And when those sponges contract, even gently, even slightly, they soak up sugar from your blood like nothing else can. But when those sponges sit still, they stay dry. The sugar stays in your bloodstream, and your body has to work overtime trying to manage it. Now here's the part that should really make you pay attention. After the age of 60, this process becomes significantly less forgiving. When you were younger, your body had more metabolic flexibility. It could absorb the slack. It could compensate. But as we age, insulin sensitivity naturally declines. That means your cells don't respond to insulin, the hormone that moves sugar into your tissues, as efficiently as they once did. So the gap between glucose floating in your blood and glucose actually being used gets wider and wider and wider. And when this happens every single morning, day after day, week after week, you're not just feeling a little sluggish. You're quietly, steadily moving toward insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is one of the earliest, most well-documented pathways toward type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and metabolic syndrome, all from lying still a little too long. But wait, because that's only the first layer of what's happening. There are 4 more, and they all stack on top of each other like dominoes. Let's talk about your blood, specifically your circulation. Overnight, your body loses fluid through breathing, through light sweating, through basic cellular processes. And here's something that often surprises people. As we age, our thirst sensation becomes weaker, significantly weaker, which means that many adults over 65 wake up already mildly dehydrated, and they don't feel thirsty at all. They have no idea. Now, why does that matter so much in the morning? Your blood is approximately 50% water. When you're dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker, more viscous, harder to pump. And that means your heart has to work harder to push oxygen and nutrients to your brain, your muscles, your joints, and every tissue in your body. This is why so many people over 65 wake up feeling heavy, foggy, slightly dizzy when they stand up too fast. That's not just aging. That's your circulation under real physiological strain. And if you stay still, that circulation doesn't improve. In fact, without movement to help pump blood back up from your legs and activate your lymphatic system, the sluggishness lingers. It drags into your morning, sometimes into your entire day. But it doesn't stop there. Because while your blood sugar is rising and your circulation is lagging, your joints are doing something most people have never been told about. You know that stiffness you feel in the morning? In your knees, your hips, your lower back, your fingers? Almost everyone over 60 experiences it. And most people assume it's just arthritis, just aging, just something to push through. But here's the truth. Inside your joints, there is a substance called synovial fluid. It's a natural lubricant. Think of it like the oil in a car engine. Its job is to reduce friction, nourish cartilage, and allow smooth, pain-free movement. And overnight, as your body rests and cools, that fluid becomes thicker, more gel-like, less effective. The only way to restore it, to thin it out, to redistribute it evenly through the joint, is movement. Gentle movement, not a marathon, not a gym session, just motion. Because when your muscles contract and your joints move through even a small range of motion, circulation increases around the joint, the synovial fluid warms and flows, and that stiffness begins to dissolve. Without that movement, the stiffness hangs around longer. Your joints feel restricted. Your balance feels off. And over time, and this is the part that really matters, this increases your risk of falls. And after 65, falls are not just inconvenient. Falls are one of the leading causes of serious injury, hospitalization, and loss of independence in older adults worldwide. So we now have blood sugar rising, circulation lagging, joints still stiff. And we haven't even talked about your brain yet. Your brain runs on an internal timing system called the circadian rhythm. Think of it as your biological clock. It regulates when you feel awake, when you feel sleepy, when your digestion works best, when your immune system is most active. It controls far more of your daily function than most people realize. And every single morning, this clock needs to be reset. It needs a signal, and the most powerful signal available to it? Natural light. When light, a specifically natural daylight, enters your eyes in the morning, it travels to a tiny region of your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. That's the master control center of your entire circadian system. And it says stop producing melatonin, start ramping up cortisol and serotonin, increase alertness. It's daytime. Let's go. But if you stay indoors, if you stay in a dim room with curtains drawn, if you delay your exposure to natural light by even an hour or two, that signal never fully fires. Your brain lingers in a semi-drowsy state. Melatonin stays elevated longer than it should. Your alertness is blunted. And here's the part people really don't expect. When your morning light exposure is delayed, your sleep that night is disrupted too. Because the timing of your sleep-wake cycle is anchored to when you get light in the morning. Push it back in the morning, and your whole rhythm shifts. So now look at what we have. Prolonged inactivity after waking raises your blood sugar by leaving glucose stranded in your bloodstream. Dehydration thickens your blood and strains your circulation. Lack of movement leaves your joints stiff and raises your fall risk. And avoiding natural light disrupts your circadian rhythm, leaving you foggy during the day and restless at night. And when all four of these happen together, when they stack on top of each other, day after day, year after year, they ignite something far more dangerous. Something researchers now believe is at the root of almost every major age-related disease: chronic low-grade inflammation. Now, inflammation itself is not evil. Acute inflammation, the kind that flares up when you cut your finger or fight an infection, is essential. It's your immune system doing its job. The problem is chronic inflammation, the quiet kind, the kind that simmers in the background without obvious symptoms, the kind you don't feel until it's already done significant damage. And here's how prolonged morning inactivity feeds it. When your cells sit idle, particularly your mitochondria, the tiny powerhouses inside every cell that generate your energy, they become less efficient. They start producing something called oxidative stress. Think of oxidative stress as the exhaust fumes of a poorly running engine. It damages cells. It damages DNA. And it sends distress signals throughout your body that trigger inflammatory responses. Over time, this chronic low-grade inflammation has been directly linked to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, sarcopenia, that's the progressive loss of muscle mass that accelerates after 60, and even depression. And the wild part? One of the simplest, most powerful ways to interrupt this entire cascade is to just move in the morning. Not hard, not long, not intense. Just move. Here is what the research supports, and what I want you to take away from this video as something concrete and actionable that you can start tomorrow morning. The first thing, and do this within 5 minutes of waking up, drink a full glass of water. Not coffee first, not tea first. Water, plain room temperature water. This single act begins to restore blood volume, improves circulation, helps your kidneys flush overnight waste, and gently activates your digestive system. If you have kidney disease or fluid restrictions, of course follow your doctor's specific guidance. But for most people, this is one of the safest, most powerful, and most underused habits you can build. The second thing, and this is non-negotiable, move your body within the first 20 to 30 minutes of waking. I am not talking about a workout. I am not asking you to run or lift weights or do anything that feels like exercise in the traditional sense. I'm talking about a slow walk to the kitchen and back. I'm talking about sitting on the edge of your bed and gently rolling your ankles and your wrists. I'm talking about standing up and sitting down 5 times. Even that modest, gentle contraction of your major muscle groups is enough to begin activating those glucose sponges. Enough to get circulation moving. Enough to begin warming the synovial fluid in your joints. 5 to 10 minutes. That's all it takes to begin shifting the biology. The third thing, and this one is the most overlooked of all, get outside and get light on your face within the first hour of waking. If you can step outside for even 5 to 15 minutes of natural daylight, you are doing something extraordinarily powerful for your brain, your hormones, your mood, and your sleep. Cloudy days still count. Light on a cloudy day is still dramatically brighter than indoor artificial light. If getting outside truly isn't possible, sit as close to a bright window as you can. But make natural light a deliberate, intentional part of your morning. It costs nothing. And the return on that investment in alertness, sleep quality, and mood stability is enormous. And here is the insight I want you to carry with you after this video is over. After 65, your body becomes more sensitive to timing than it is to intensity. A short morning walk matters more than a long afternoon workout when it comes to blood sugar regulation. 5 minutes of light movement after waking matters more than 30 minutes of exercise 6 hours later. Early light exposure matters more than any supplement you can buy for sleep quality and mental clarity. Your morning window, those first 30 to 60 minutes, is not just the start of your day. It is a biological reset, a metabolic reboot, a chance to set every major system in your body on the right trajectory for the next 16 hours. And what you do or don't do during that window matters far more than most people ever realize. Remember when I said the most dangerous morning habit isn't sugar or skipping breakfast or even coffee? This is why. Because those things are choices that happen during your morning. Prolonged inactivity is what happens to your body while you're making those choices. It's the silent backdrop, the invisible default, and it quietly costs you in energy, in stiffness, in blood sugar, in brain fog, in sleep, in long-term health, every single day you don't interrupt it. The good news, and I want to end on this day, is that this is entirely within your control. Hydrate, move, get light, all within your first hour. That's it. That's the whole message. 3 things. 15 minutes. Every morning. So let me ask you one final question before you go. What does your morning look like right now? And is there one small thing, just one, that you're willing to change starting tomorrow? Write it in the comments. I read them. And sometimes that small act of saying it out loud, of committing to it, is exactly what turns intention into action. If today's video gave you something useful, something that made you think differently about how you start your day, please give it a like, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe so you never miss what's coming next. I'm Dr. Leana, and I will see you in the next one.